Hello folks and welcome back to the channel. In today's ranking mode video we're going to take on Anthrax discography. And Anthrax is one of the most successful metal bands of all time. In the early days they played thrash, and then they had an alternative metal period in the 90s with Armored Saints vocalist John Bush handling the microphone. But then Joey Belladonna returned to the band in more recent years. And Anthrax is of course one of the big four of thrash, and they are celebrating 40 years as a band this year. So what better way to celebrate that than to rank their full discography from the worst to the best. So if you're an Anthrax fan or a metal fan in general, then smash that like button, subscribe and all of that jazz. Because now it's time to rank some Anthrax albums. The worst Anthrax album is in my opinion Stomp 442 from 1995. And this was the band's second studio album with John Bush, and by 95 they weren't really a thrash metal band anymore. This is some type of 90s metal. I'm not sure in what genre I would place it, but they had more of a rock influenced sound on this record. It's like they took some groove metal, some rock, some punk rock and some heavy metal and mixed it all into one record. And Pantera Steinbag Darrell appeared on this record as a guest musician. But I doubt that many Pantera fans will be into this album. Next. In 11th place we have Attack of the Killer Bees. And this is a compilation album that features some unreleased tracks, some covers, 2 live tracks, 1 Japanese bonus track from the Persistence of Time CD, and of course that rap collaboration with Public Enemy. So I decided to include this album here, even if it's technically not a real studio album, but a compilation album. The SOD covers or re-recorded songs or whatever you wanna call them are cool, but the original song Starting Up a Posse is one of the worst songs that Anthrax ever recorded. The other new song here, NFB, is also up there amongst the worst. It's like a country song or something. This is just a weird compilation of songs, and it's also a very bad album in my opinion. It's more of a cash grab than anything else, I would say. So, next. In 10th place we have Come For You All from 2003. And this is a very modern sounding record. It's also a rather soft record. The big hit from the album was Safe Home, and it sounds almost like a Foo Fighters song or something. The album lands somewhere between rock and metal, I would say, and it's not really the place that I want Anthrax to be in. In fact, I want them to be in any place but here. Next. In 9th place I put Volume 8, The Threat Is Real. And this album is also from the John Bush era, and even if I think that John Bush is a competent singer, I'm not that big of a fan of the era when he was still in the band. Simply because they no longer played thrash metal during those years, and I think that most Anthrax fans would probably agree with me that Volume 8 ain't amongst their best. So, next. In 8th place we have Worship Music from 2011, and this was the comeback album for Joey Belladonna. And there was quite the hype for this album when it came out. Some fans, me included, wasn't very happy with the direction that the band took during the 90s. So I think there were some expectations that Anthrax was going to deliver a full-on thrash record here. But Worship Music wasn't the glorious return of the old Anthrax that we hoped for. It is a more metallic album than some of their previous records. It has some nice guitar licks here and there, but this doesn't exactly sound like the good old Anthrax. Sure, there are some Persistence of Time vibes here, but also some groove and straight up hard rock. The Devil You Know was the big hit from this record, and it's also one of the better songs on the album. In 7th place we have For All Kings from 2016, and this is their latest effort, and it's in my opinion their thrashiest record since Persistence of Time. The band's new guitarist Jonathan Donace is a good addition to the band, I think. It's a pretty thrashy record, even if it's also a very modern sounding album. And Joey Belladonna sounds surprisingly good on this record, I must admit. And this is my favorite Anthrax record of the last 20 years, but that doesn't say that much honestly. Next. In 6th place we have Sound of White Noise from 93, and this was the band's first record with John Bush at the mic. And this album sounds more like the next Armored Saint record, which was John Bush's band before joining Anthrax. Just listen to their album Symbol of Salvation. This feels more like the natural follow-up to that album. Maybe not exactly as good as that record though. This song Only was one of the more memorable tracks of this album, and it's one of the band's biggest hits. And it's a cool song even if it's very much a song of its time. Next. In 5th place we have State of Euphoria from 1988. And now we're finally here in the classic era of Anthrax, with the lineup of Scott Ian, Charlie Benanti, Frank Bello, Joey Belladonna and Dan Spitz. And State of Euphoria is a cool record, but it was sandwiched in between Among the Living and Persistence of Time, so it's a bit underrated for that reason. But songs like Be All End All and Out of Sight and Out of Mind are cool tracks with a lot of crunch and melody. I also like the song Antisocial, which is a cover of the French heavy metal band Trust. And both the cover and the original are cool in my opinion. In 4th place we have Persistence of Time, and this album is a bit darker than their previous record State of Euphoria. And I liked what they were doing here, and this was also the end of an era since Joey Belladonna left a year or two later. And the band shifted into a more mainstream direction after that. The Joe Jackson cover Got the Time was frequently played on MTV. And this album is worth checking out if you haven't, because it's a great album. Next. In 3rd place we have Among the Living from 1987, and this album is like a best of Anthrax record, because more or less all of the classic songs are on this record, from Among the Living to Caught in a Marsh, I Am the Law and The Indians. This album solidified Anthrax as one of the premier thrash bands of the decade. Among the Living is a brilliant album, but it's only my number 3. Because it has this kind of fun-loving and serious tone to it. Next. In 2nd place we have Spreading the Disease from 1985, and this is a great album with a lot of classic thrashers on it, like Madhouse, Armed and Dangerous, Medusa and Gung Ho. Spreading the Disease was the band's first full-length with Joey Belladonna. He also appeared on the Armed and Dangerous EP that was released a couple of months earlier. And this song Armed and Dangerous also appeared on this record, but with another mix where the intro is removed. Spreading the Disease is a brilliant record and a thrash classic, so check it out. Next. The best Anthrax album in my opinion is their 1984 debut album Fistful of Metal, and at the time the band was fronted by Neil Turbin, who does a great job here. And Dan Lilker, whom later formed Nuclear Assault, also played on this record. And Fistful of Metal is a bit different from the rest of their catalog. This is more in the speed metal vein, I would say. I know they did some gigs with Exciter early on, and Anthrax does sound a bit like Exciter here. Young, hungry and wild, and they played faster here than on any other record. Songs like Death Rider, Death from Above, Metal Thrashing Mad and Panic are all great songs. And Metal Thrashing Mad was actually the song that named the whole genre, by the way, so it's definitely a legendary one. And the only song here that I'm not really a big fan of is I'm 18, which is an Alice Cooper cover. It's not bad really, it's just that I think they could have removed it. And this album is more menacing than the albums that came after it. There are no joking around here or rap songs on this album, that's for sure. It's just full speed ahead and I love it. So that's why Fistful of Metal is my favorite Anthrax album. So let's have a look at my full list now. And my guess here is that a lot of Anthrax fans would rank Among the Living as their number 1 Anthrax record, and perhaps Persistence of Time as their number 2. But I prefer Fistful of Metal over those records, even if the production isn't as clean as on some of their later records. But that's just me guessing here, so feel free to post your favorite Anthrax albums below, or give me a full rank of their discography. And if you're an Anthrax fan, then smash that like button, leave a comment and subscribe with the bell notifications turned on, so you won't miss out when I upload more episodes of Rank 'Em All. I also have a Patreon page where you can donate a few dollars if you like my work, and you get your name in my videos. And you can also support my work by grabbing a shirt at the Ruthless Metal store. And I also have Facebook, Spotify and a Discord server, so feel free to check those out as well. And I also want to know whose discography I should rank next. Let me know down below. And thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye.